Evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to Fontana, California, as LSRTV bringing you into our Friday night primetime doubleheader on iRacing Live. And to get things rolling, we bring you inside the virtual Auto Club Speedway. Just 5 races remain in the inaugural RoddCar Truck Tour Championship, and tonight's Skyline Motorsports 250 marks the 11th week of racing on a 15-race season. Evan Pasoko, Andy Kessler, along with you for tonight, as always, joined by defending iSuperspeedway.com Racing Series champion Josh Ball and Laura Lawson down into production holler, pushing buttons and getting us on the air to you. There is now a very real look, guys, at the championship picture. We rapidly approach the January 8th finale date in Homestead, Miami. You look at the calendar, that's 2 months away, but that's just 5 races left to go in the season. 2/3 down, Andy Kessler, just 1/3 to go. And it seems like just last week we were talking about how this RoddCar Truck Tour was just getting going. We're not all that far away from crowning a champion, and we roll through probably one of the biggest and fastest tracks we'll see on the season in Auto Club.
Yeah, we do. You're talking 15 points separating the top 4 drivers in the championship, so it's anybody's game at this point. And you talk about this track, very fast. The draft is going to come into play huge here on these long straightaways. But then they're going to branch out in the corners. You're going to see guys trying different lines, the bottom line, the middle line, the high line. You can almost run 4 or 5 wide here, Evan. There's tons of space. The problem, though, is coming off of the corners, turn 2 and 4, these trucks like to push up the racetrack. So when we see these guys 3 and 4 wide through the corners, they better be real careful on quarter exit.
Josh, as a driver, these truck guys, they don't have to deal with the iSuper chase, which is what you guys have to deal with in part 2 of our Friday night doubleheaders, and that's a whole other conversation later on this evening. So it's a 15-race season. That's not the tail of the tape, though, in and of itself, because in those 15 races, 3 drop weeks. Technically, only going to be 2 drop weeks. One race at the beginning of the season did not technically get off, so there's going to be 2 drop weeks. We don't currently see those in the points, but those drop weeks are going to start to be factored in now as we go into these final 5 weeks, and we'll get a first look at what those drops will entail after tonight's event. As a driver, do you drive any differently with those drop weeks, or is it business as usual like you have done for the first 10, you'll do for tonight, and you'll do for the next 4 that show up and try to win?
Evan, I think you got to just go out there and try to win. Although consistency is probably the biggest concern in the truck series, because obviously, just like you said, there is no iSuper chase or any type of chase format in this truck series. It's all based on points throughout the year. So the consistent person may win the championship at the end. It might not be any of the Logan Clamps that won back-to-back or Seth the Merchants. It may be some person that hasn't won, like Josh Hanner or Greg Hooks. They may have been consistent throughout the year and just have better finishes when the other guys, won a couple races but may have wrecked out. So should be interesting to see, especially with the new rule change as of last week. If you guys weren't joining us, there is no more quick repairs, so that is another element into it that the guys won't be able to, come back out on the track even if it's not their fault.
And that'll be a big factor as well later on tonight on the super speedways. But until then, we're getting set to go racing from the Auto Club Speedway. A little bit of a different qualification procedure here for this one, because this racetrack clocks in at 2 miles, checkered flag to checkered flag. It is single lap closed qualifying opposed to the normal open qualifying session that we see. That means that the drivers just get 1 lap. And, well, Josh, you were talking about who might be able to have an opportunity to become a winner. Josh Hanner has made the step in the right direction. Qualifying's in the books. Let's take a look at the LSRTV starting grid. It is that number 24 Chevrolet of Josh Hanner, though, Andy. Pole position for the DuPont Automotive finishes Chevrolet Silverado, a 39.278 will put him on pole position. Greg Hooks can line up outside to him on the front row. The 98 driver starts in second. Seth the Merchant will start tonight's event from third. It'll be Rodney Wofford in fourth, and your current series points leader, Rod Flag, in fifth.
And Christian Peterson in the 71 will start 6th tonight. The 7th will go to the 43 truck of Stephanie Lessentine. Corey Henry in the 12 starts 8th. 9th will be the 44 of Logan Clampett, and Rod Mitten in the 92 will start 10th.
Starting 11th, the 07 Big City Motorsports Chevrolet of Derek Walker. Shane McKeechin, Jane Pileski round out the top 13. Frank Busial lines up 14th, who is outside, Ryan Keith.
Dana Osborne will start tonight in 16th position, and it'll be a 17th for the 20 of At Von Tempe. Brandon Chiburko, 18th position on the grid for the number 3 machine. Just behind Tim, back on row number 10, 19th spot goes to the 25 of Daniel Ferguson, and Ron Thompson rounds out your top 20 trucks.
And coming in 21st tonight is the 83 of Ramon Evans. The 18 of Jimmy Todd will start 22nd. 23rd will be the 088 of Kent Connolly. The 33 of Larry Camp will start 24th. And then Ray Rittenauer in the 87 will start 25th, while Matt Quick with the blistering time of 4 minutes 4 seconds on his qualifying.
In a 5-minute qualifying session, that's quite the
exactly.
That's
we'll
good.
Start 26. That's just awesome to see. I love that.
Track record.
Yep, didn't want to ruin his tires in the qualifying.
I guess. So. Well, saving tires might be a conversation in this one. I hope they put 4 fresh ones, though, on that 89 coming to this one. Chris Basidi will start 27th on a provisional to make a 27-truck grid. And on the notion of tires, Josh, is tires going to be a big factor in tonight's race? It is a very wide racetrack. It's a very fast racetrack. This track quicker than Daytona and Talladega Indy's trucks because they're not restricted down to turns 3 and turn 1. It's going to be very high speeds. What are these drivers going to need to keep an eye on if they want to make it what is really a long race at 78 laps?
Yeah, they're definitely going to need to do those tires. And, tonight we're actually a little bit crunched on time, a lot of laps. If we get any more than 2 cautions, it's going to end on a time limit. So we got to be watch out for that tonight. Definitely going to need 4 tires all night, Evan. A lot of pushing off the corner if you don't have good rubber.
Race control says the 24 will lead us to the green flag, so pace car gets down. Josh Hanner going to bring these guys into the go zone as we get set, to get going. The Skyline Motorsports 250 is green at a turn number 4. We race to turn number 1, and they crank these boys up already in excess of 150 miles an hour by the time they get to 1. 3 wide back in the pack they go. That's for just outside the top 10. Battle for the race lead, though it's no problem. Bottom lane, Josh Hanner leads us through turn number 2.
And Seth the Merchant now is going to put the pinch on the 98 of Greg Hooks. He's going to put, there's their 4 wide just behind these guys all around that 10th spot. You were just talking about him going 3 wide. The 07 caught right in the middle. That's the Derek Walker, Jack Daniels machine right there, as we see the 28 of Shane McKeechin go way high in turns 3 and 4 right now. But these guys not wasting any time having going 3 wide, 4 wide even.
And you're talking about that across the start-finish line, 3 wide, and this time it's making its way towards the top 5. Just outside, it'll be for P6. Rod Flag had the spot. He'll lose it. Logan Clampett making a move on the inside of the racetrack. The 44 truck takes that pot away. And then Stephanie Lessentine as well, going to get a spot on your points leader. She as well makes the pass down on the bottom of the racetrack. Top 7 trucks single filed out. And Rod Flag, who started P5, now back in at least P7. If not further, outside is, the longer way around the racetrack, and it's not paying off right now for Flag. He loses 3 spots that lap alone.
Yeah, Evan, a couple of guys are just trying to get into the groove right now. Some guys might be trying to do the preferred outside line just to see if they can save some tires. I'm figuring we're going to see a lot of green flag laps here tonight. This is a very wide track. We're going 3, 4 wide. These guys do this all night, in I Super Speedway later on. So this is a piece of cake for them, 3 and 4 wide here at this track. So definitely looks like everybody's trying to single file out here. A couple passes going on back through the field. Top 4 are single file right now. A little bit of battle for 7th. Rodney Wofford on the outside right now. James Plesky getting a little high there. Off the corner into the wall.
Pileski's going to catch the fence at a turn number 4. They duck low to get around, and it'll be Rod Flag who tries to make the pass topside. That was contact in front of Pileski. It looked like Stephanie Lessentine pushed up the track, got into, if not just missed the 7 out. Problems, Rod Flag, the 23 truck, just gets around this one. Caution flag is out. He's into the outside wall. Yellow flag early at the Auto Club Speedway at lap number 4. And as we mentioned just when we came on the air, that we were just getting an idea of what your championship picture would be. Rod Flag led by 5 points over Joshua Hanner for the top spot into tonight. And as we get set and take a look at the first incident that happened just the lap prior in 4, did not trigger a caution, and then we'll show you what happened just a moment ago. Rod Flag on the outside of the racetrack, and You know, he comes down. It's a 3-wide situation. I don't think the 23 was expecting the be 3 wide. If you look at it, Andy, it looks like it's the 23 who comes down, but I don't think he was expecting the 8 to be there if he even saw him.
Yeah, I think the 8 wasn't expecting Rod to check up like that going into the corner. You know, and this type of track is because you're carrying such speed into these corners, it's so easy to overdrive the entry of the corner, and I'm sure Josh can back me up on this, and you end up pushing up early on the entry of the corner, and I think Rod was, his let-off point is probably right where he wants to be. Let off early, let that thing coast to the bottom and get off the corner on a good run. But I think the 8 just kind of maybe overdrove it into the corner, and then all of a sudden the 23 was right up on him in no time. So I think it was just a misjudgment of where you were on the track right there, and I think a lot of that too happens with the draft. You get such a draft pull on these straightaways. So a lot of things factor into that. Just a simple racing deal, I think.
And Rod Flag, not normally an audible driver, went on the racetrack, Josh, but he is obviously not happy with being involved in an accident because, as you mentioned just before we came on, new to the series as of just 1 week ago, there's no longer that one quick fix that these drivers have at a bank. So if you don't know what that means, basically if any of these trucks got damaged, they could come down and essentially get a brand new truck. You get one opportunity to come down and get a brand new one. That is no longer in effect. So any damage you get, if it's repairable, you have to get it fixed, take the time, and just with that, we talk about our championship leader. He got pretty junked up in that one. It was a pretty hard hit, so as the leaders come down to the pit lane, Flag obviously in as well, and I'm sure he'll be down a couple times tonight. That truck's never going to get back to 100%. They'll fix it. It's not going to get really competitive because you talk about tracks that would be aerodynamically sensitive. This track would obviously have to classify under that category.
Definitely, Evan, and we're seeing the end of the run there when people are getting the draft. These trucks are hitting close to 190 miles an hour. That's pretty fast for these. So, Rod Flag definitely had some significant damage there. Unfortunately, it was just a part of the checkup from the 93 getting into the outside wall. But no, if he can get it in there and get fixed, just like you said, that new rule kind of bit him there a little bit. But if he can get it fixed, a couple cautions, he might be able to get up there if some other trucks get junked. But unfortunately, his night might be done for at least racing for the win for sure. So unless some crazy incidents happens where he's able to stay out on 2 tires and a caution comes out right after the green flag, but I don't see that happening.
Still a long way to go to the end of this one. This restart will be with about 70 laps remaining. The lights go on for the pace car this time by. It'll be 71 laps to go. When we do get back at it, you're talking about 40 seconds per lap with relatively fresh tires, Andy. 2-3 cautions, if that, would at least take us to the point where it would already go back on the time limit of 65 minutes as opposed to making this one at the checkered flag on race distance.
Absolutely. Race distance, 78 laps here. You do the math at 40 seconds a lap. That's, 50-something minutes. So that's my calculator going
Good math,
tonight,
good math.
Yeah. So, so when these guys are under caution, obviously a minute plus, minute 40 or so on a lap time. So that definitely takes into effect here. So, these guys definitely, they got to keep an eye on that too. This might be one of those counting down the time instead of the lap. So we might see some guys like Corey Henry, Ray Rittenauer did this time staying out here after only running about 3 or 4 laps green flag here. They're going to stay out on these tires. You might see some of that here towards the end of the race also. But that 71 truck, Christian Peterson, his crew did something special there. They went in 5th on that pit stop, Evan, and they came out first to everybody. So that was pretty cool.
It'll line him up 3rd for the restart. As you mentioned, Corey Henry stays out. The 12 is your race leader from 8th, but Ray Rittenauer from 25th also stays out. He'll be 2nd for the restart. The pace car gets down and out of the way. It is the first American Ethanol restart on the evening. Into the restart zone they go. Green flag flies and back and away with 71 laps to go at the Auto Club Speedway. And a pretty good start for everybody as we all get these trucks back up the full song. Advantage, if any, to the inside lane. You'll really see that inside they'll pull the advantage when they get down to the corner. That 12 ahead gets clear, and now you're in a bad spot if you're Ray Rittenauer because you don't have the fresh tires, and your top side, Henry leads, but Peterson is all over him down the back straightaway.
Yeah, 2x2 back from row 4 on, but the top 3 have pulled away a little bit here. Going to get single file. Henry, Peterson, and DeMerchant. It looks like Rittenauer's tires are not helping him right now. He's all the way to the way outside. Get a little bobbled up. Oh, 94 around into the 38. Oh, he's upside down.
Big trouble behind your race leaders. The caution flag is out once again. It's at a turn number 4, and it breaks wide open. Caution is out, lap number 8. And that was a lot of contact in turn number 4, all centered around the Brani Ford of Frank Busilia. We were just talking about that truck, though, that was topside that had stayed out, was coming from way back in the field in P25, is where we're right now with the second. Had started this race, Andy. He stayed out to second. Same tires as the guy that was able to retain the race lead, Corey Henry. But when you're topside again, as I said in turn 2, that's probably not going to be very good. And he was slow when he exited 4, and Busilia checked up. He got tagged from behind as we're taking a look. It looks like by the 7 truck behind them. And then when Frank went down the track, he hits the 20. And you talk about a blowover. Matt Bontempi just goes straight to his lid and into the outside fence.
Yeah, that was a tough crash right there for Bontempi and a couple of those other guys. But that's a product of the older tires there, just not being able to keep that truck down on that bottom part of the racetrack. It definitely slows your momentum off the corner, and that's why the 94, Frank Busilia, just caught up to him so quickly. Really had nothing to do, and Wofford, being that as close as he was to the 94, he couldn't see anything. So as soon as Frank slowed up, there was nothing Wofford could do right there, and he just barely got into him, but it was enough to get him spinning. And with all the trucks on the restart that close, you're just asking for carnage.
And there wasn't much for a lot of those guys to do. I will give credit, though, I guess in some sort of a way, Josh, because that's about as realistic as a blowover as you can get. Matt Bontempi, shades of Kurt Busch going upside down there, collected a whole lot of other names, too. There was a point where I think they were 7 cars wide from the pit road wall to the outside wall wreck, and just nowhere for any of those guys behind him to go. But I mean, it's such a high-speed racetrack. These guys, again, that's just the first lap coming off of the green flag, and at that point, they're already doing 175 miles an hour. So we talk about how this race can probably go green, and I still think it will, because there is still a long way to go. But when you have that much width in a racetrack, guys aren't as cautious because they're able to stagger on each other a little bit more. So instead of being in a racetrack where you can only go 3 wide, you can go 5 wide here. They're not 5 wide at the time, but instead of being behind somebody able to check up, they're almost 4 wide, a couple of rows deep. So when something like that happens, the track gets blocked much quicker, and that was a pretty big incident because of that. Because, I mean, they were packed in there just outside of the top 10 right off of the green flag.
Yeah, exactly. And, I think, unfortunately, some of it's to do with the no cautions or no quick repairs, because it looked like some of the guys were trying to check up and, try to get out of it a little bit and stay out of the way. Exactly. A little bit too conservative. And that, the previous wreck, the same thing. And unfortunately, there was 6 trucks involved in that one. The 10 Orion Keys actually just barely squeezed by. If we got the replay up here in a little while, or it's already come up. But he squeaked through there on the in the grass in between all the trucks that were spinning. And unfortunately, a couple of the trucks, Rodney Wofford, Frank Busilia, Daniel Ferguson, Ramon Evans, Matt Bontempi, and Ron Thompson were the trucks involved in that wreck. And there's a couple of spots for Rod Flagg, though. He'll be able to pass a couple of those trucks probably and get some more points for that championship, which there's no chasing. So maybe getting a little bit closer to Josh Hanner again.
And we all know how big of a factor those drop weeks will play, Andy. But at least at this point, let's take a look at our truck championship standings through 10 of the 15 races on the season. We'll begin to see those 2 remaining drops come into effect in these next 5 weeks. So the points can shuffle, but right now, it's a 4-truck race. And we talked about Rod Flagg, who has had his problems tonight, is 27th of 27 at the moment, and it looks like he's done for the night. So this is guaranteed to knock him off the top spot. But for the moment, It is Rod Flag leading the championship into tonight, 341 points. Behind him just by 5 is Josh Hanner. Behind him by 12, Ray Ritenour with the second. And behind him by 15th is Matthew Quick. Everybody else, Shane McEachin, Kent Connolly, Christian Peterson, and company, they're over 30 points back. That's still well in the conversation with 4 races to go. But the big topic that we've been talking about as the lights go on for the pace car, and one thing that is fun to talk about, is the fact that we've had 4 sets of repeat winners. Christian Peterson won Darlington, then Charlotte, then it was Chaburko at Dover, then Michigan. DeMerchant doubled up Kentucky, Chicago, and Clampett has won the last 2 at Iowa and Kansas. None of those names are in the top 4. The top 4 names in the championship that we just mentioned, Flag, Hanner, Ritenour, and Quick, no wins on the season.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing that they haven't had a win, but they're up there in the top. So shows consistency, gets the job done too. Obviously, race wins are nice, but I think that he's definitely had some bad luck thrown his way. Rod Flag has in the last few weeks. Because at one point, I do believe a few weeks ago, Evan, his points lead was almost 20 or 25 points.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So he had it going for him early on in the season, but he's just hit that string of bad luck. And we've seen it both in the trucks and we've seen it in the iSuper Speedway series here too, where guys like the 88, for instance, running up front all night, but just seems to not be able to finish a race this season. So Jorgensen Jr. having his bad luck in the iSuper Speedway series. But it just seems that in both of these series this season on Friday nights here that we've seen that a lot, with a lot of bad luck for a lot of guys.
So coming off of the third caution flag, this one a big one. We regroup and reset. So the pace car makes the sharp left-hand turn down to the safety to pit lane, and it is the 7 of Christian Peterson into the American Ethanol Go Zone. Green flag going to fly back in the air, and back and away we go. And a good start topside for Seth the Merchant for 2 wins on the season, being P10 in points is quiet by his standards. He wants the top spot. He's going to push by Clampett topside to turn 1.
Yeah, and these guys almost 3 wide right behind him in that 8th, 9th, 10th spot right there. Able to settle out. They're going to go side by side now. Getting real close off of turn number 2 there. It was a 24 of Hanner and Clampett there on the outside. Clampett trying to basically pinch him down there, trying to get a run off the corner. It's not going to work, though, right now. That bottom side still the place you want to be. It's very easy, though, to push up into that second lane and outside driver, so got to keep an eye on that right now as they're going 3 wide just behind them. Lessentine on the outside, and Corey Henry and Chaburko, they're all mixing it up. That's in that 6th, 7th, 8th spot right there.
And I'm not surprised that it's the 3 of Brandon Chaburko making that 3 wide. Josh, he goes to the bottom. Check up behind him, the 12, Corey Henry. He gets tapped to the back end by Rod Minton. It doesn't look like a whole lot comes from that. But Brandon Chaburko, you could expect if somebody's going to be making those moves, it's him. 18th on the grid, and through 3 caution flags, already now inside of the top 10. He gets the number 7 spot in front, though. How about 2 wide, 2 rows deep for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th? And Greg Hooks leads it for the moment. 3 wide, though, to Merchant topside and Hanner to the bottom.
Yeah, it looks like Hanner was trying to go down there and get all he could, but back to 2 wide, 3 wide again. Hanner's going to go ahead and go past Greg Hooks here going into turn 3. As we see Rod Flag actually coming back out on the track there. But, yeah, it looks like everybody's trying to get single-filed up here. Right now we got Logan Clampett side by side with Greg Hooks for P number 4. But on back behind them, except for Chaburko now looking to go to the inside, we're pretty much single-file.
And Peterson is able to take over the race lead, as we mentioned, from Corey Henry on that last short green flag stint. He was the first driver off of the pit lane with 4 fresh Goodyear Wrangler tires. He leads now in front of DeMerchant and Josh Hanner, top 3 single file. P4 on back, they're still single filed out, but nobody cutting Logan Clampett a break. Again, this is the inaugural season for these trucks, so we talk about 4 drivers that have won back-to-back races. That means, well, it's a 4-way tie for the most wins in the series. Logan Clampett trying to go 3 in a row, trying to take sole possession of the all-time series record wins list. Right now in 4th, he'll have to wait. The man going forward is Josh Hanner, your pole sitter. Dropped back, lost a little bit of time in the pit lane, Andy. He tries to resurge, and he goes right to the bottom on Seth the Merchant. It's such a wide track, it's hard to shut the door or block somebody. These two going to go at it at a turn 4.
Yeah, and you talk about the guys that have gone back to back to back to back to back. We always like to talk about it. You got 4 of those guys in the top 5 that have done it. The only person without a win right there is the 24 of Hanner. He's doing a great job here in the early run on this restart. here. He's able to get by the 42 of Seth the Merchant right there for that second spot. So definitely he's got a good truck here. We always talk about the 24 and all those Hendrick cars that they have long run setups in there. So not surprising to see this 24, see how he'll do as this run goes on, as these tires wear out. But so far so good right now for Hanner, still looking for that first win of the season.
And Josh, as the driver, I'd have to look to you for this, but a lot of the time when we talk about side-by-side fights, we talk about how the inside's the better way into the corner. The outside, though, the better place to be, because you normally get a big run down the banking. Well, we're working with 14 degrees of banking here at Auto Club, but the front stretch is still angled at 11 degrees, so there's not a big difference coming off the hill at a turn 4, and I noticed that with Josh Hanner trying to pass Seth the Merchant. He went to the inside of the racetrack. Normally that 42 taking the top side would pull right back with him, if not the advantage on the straightaway. Not the case, though, here at Auto Club Speedway. Because there's not a big difference in banking from the corner to the front stretch, it seems like the bottom, if you can hold it, may be the place to be as we go on board with Clampett in P5. He's watching the side-by-side fight between the Merchant and Chaburko.
Yeah, definitely. You know, we're carrying about 175 miles an hour through the corners here, and we only get up about less than 10 miles an hour greater on the straight. So, you know, there's a lot of speed being carried around this track. So, exactly, you know, coming off the corners, you know, the high side may work a little bit better, but it's not like we're used to in the super speedways or some of the bigger tracks like Michigan or something like that with a lot more banking. You know, here on the bottom and the top, you could get a really good run. It's just how your truck is hooking up at the time. And, you know, we're going to get a couple of green flag laps here. We should see some see who has a better setup and get some better tire wear here soon, as we'll see a couple people going forward and a couple of people going backwards.
So far, Brandon Chaburko, the biggest mover forwards. It's a combination of the aggressive driving we've seen and the combination of the fact that he started P18, and a lot of the guys that started in front of him have gotten a couple of accidents so far. But Chaburko, your biggest mover at the moment. He's plus 15 spots to third at the moment. Just behind these guys, the battle is now 2.4 seconds away. You got cars battling like the Tanabashita Ryan Keese. He just put a move on the Jack Daniel Chevrolet of Derek Walker, so Walker falls to P10. Keese now positive 5 spots as he cracks a single-digit running position at this moment. Things starting to spread out, things trying to go green. Have to mention, again, these guys working with a 70% fuel cell. It won't take all that long lap-wise to get to green flag pit stops. Peterson, though, out front by over half of a second, Andy. Not surprising to say this, Josh Hanner's closing.
Yeah, Hanner's starting to do a great job right here. Definitely see him kind of entering the corner high, really drives it down onto that white line and lets the car just drift up. You got so much room to do it. Oh, his 71 has trouble there. Gets in the wall off 4. That's going to make the lead a real big battle right now. So Josh Hanner, he's going to take over that spot. All that momentum was lost in that one little mistake right there by Christian Peterson. So move that 24 truck up to that top spot. Tough break for the 71.
We take a second look at that one. It's Christian Peterson up off the hill, and I think he just kept it off, but he lost so much time as that truck got out of whack that it allowed Josh Hanner to get clear in the 24 back to the point at lap number 22. So the 71 hangs on. He's second. Chaburko now, though, right in this battle. The number 3 Chevrolet joining. And we go from having those top 3 drivers separated by 1.5 seconds to now all tightened within half a second as Chaburko wants to join the party. And that 71 to Peterson, Josh, maybe a case of that truck was so tight that it was loose because he started pushing up the hill, and as Andy had mentioned, he had to give it so much wheel to keep it out of the fence that that truck just about went well to the inside wall instead of the outside one. He did a good job of hanging on. He's still second. I'm not sure how long that'll last with Chaburko up his back end, but it was a good piece of driving to keep it out of the fence nonetheless.
Definitely. And, you know, week in and week out, we definitely see, you know, different guys as Chaburko gets right to the back bumper there of Christian Peterson coming off of turn 4. And he is going to the bottom to take over second place. But we see week in and week out, you know, different teams with different setups. We had a lot of shuffling in teams this past week, and I'm sure that'll be announced later in the evening or in the future. But we definitely have, you know, Josh Hanner is more of the conservative driver. His setups, you know, throughout his team have always been for the long run. Whereas we've a lot of seen, you know, Christian Peterson, Logan Clampett, and Seth the Merchant. They're, you know, a lot of the shorter run trucks are really fast So it really depends here. It looks like Canner's setup may be better for the long run tonight. It's really just going to depend on how many laps we get going. But I tell you what, Evan, that Intimidator number 3 is coming.
Problems for the 07 and Derek Walker, a wreck at a turn number 2 a couple of laps ago. We were looking at the leaders as he was quite a few ways behind. P10 at the time of the accident got sideways, spun it to the apron. He got back going, no caution as that truck came to a complete stop off of the racing surface, but now goes from P10 to P19. He's right now the last of the 19 drivers that run on the lead lap at this point. You mentioned Peterson, the battle for second. It was not long-lived. He now actually slides back to 4th because Seth the Merchant making a move on him. Probably maybe a case of those tires getting heated up, plus the handling going away after that scare in turn 4, but we are indeed seeing those trucks on the long run that are better starting to make their headway now 25 laps in at the Auto Club Speedway, and it's Brandon Chiburko there in second spot who is continuing to apply the pressure. And again, for a truck that was 18th in practice and 18th in qualifying, I don't know if Chiburko was sandbagging one, Andy. I guess he likes it when the green flag drops because he is hustling right now, passing so far 16 drivers. Not, though, the biggest mover. Chris Passini is up 17 spots.
Number 1. Almost around. The 3 truck off of turn number 4 there. Chiburko, just as we were talking, him closing
the same spot as before.
Yeah. It looks like he might have got loose there because it started to spin on him on that low side of that corner. So something happened right there to him, but that's going to definitely upset his tires. If we take a look at the replay there, he's going to end up losing, looks like 3 spots right there, possibly 4 actually to these guys now. He's going to be running in that 5th spot.
And I'll repeat with what we said with Christian Peterson is that truck probably should have wrecked out of this race, and Chiburko gives it a hell of a piece of driving. That thing started going up the hill, center of 3 and 4, all the way to turn 4. Does a masterful job of keeping it on the track. As Andy mentioned, though, does lose 3 spots. Seth the Merchant takes over 2nd. Stephanie Lessentine now in 3rd. Christian Peterson passes him to take P4 at that time. Back in 5th position, but it's a combination of 14 degrees of banking. That's not a lot of lateral grip on these trucks. Oh, Peterson, the fence again at a turn 4. So the second time on this run, Christian Peterson, I said he took 4th away. He actually passed Stephanie Lessentine for 3rd. Yeah. Then he caught the fence that time through. So it's fast. They say a fast truck is a loose truck, but I don't know if it's a little bit too loose. Now he's really struggling. He's sinking real bad now in P9.
Yeah, exactly, Evan. And, I was going back and actually looking at the lap times while we were, everything was going on there. And Josh Hanner, at the top spot currently, over the last couple laps from the beginning of the run, has only lost about 6 tenths to 7 tenths off of what he was running. He was running 39.9s at the beginning of the run, about 40.4s right now. Whereas we go back and look at Christian Peterson, as we got caution on the speedway, not really sure where it's at right now, Evan, but this is going to be definitely, they're going to come back down and get some new tires. Christian Peterson's going to be able to hopefully be able to bring it back around, but hopefully we can figure out where that caution was on the track. I'm thinking it's involving the 07 of Derek Walker.
And we talk about guys going off of the deep end. It was really starting to fall apart there for Christian Peterson, and Derek Walker will be this caution. And it's the same thing in 3 and 4, just no grip in that truck. Unfortunately for the 07 Chevy, Andy was taking the replay. He was not able to save it. He went back up into the outside wall, and that triggered a caution flag. Just a single truck accident.
Yeah, just a single truck, like you said, but definitely exactly like what we saw happen with the 3 and the 71 here towards that run there. I think these guys just made their tires too angry early in the run here. Once you do that, I think at Auto Club, because there's just so much heat going into these tires on these long runs like this with the draft and the speeds these guys carry into the corners, and they don't really, like Josh had talked about earlier, they don't really drop that much speed. So these trucks are hauling around this place, and I think once you get them angry, you really don't have a chance to let them cool down at all, and I think that's where these guys were having the trouble, whereas the 24 just been smooth this whole run, and that's exactly why he pulled out to a 2-second lead right there before this pit stop. So pit stops are open. All the leaders are coming down pit road. I'm sure they're all going to be taking 4 tires this time.
And you can tell they're getting aggressive because side by side they come down to the pit lane for second. Stephanie Lessentine in the number 7 box. She'll get there before the number 3 box, which is for the 42 of Seth the Merchant. So she gets to the inside of him, and they drag race down to the pit lane at 55 miles an hour in for service. We expect all these drivers to come in, take 4 tires and fuel at a good entry for the 24 of Josh Hanner, the first driver in, not the first driver out, though it looks like staying out. Shane McEachin leads the race as these guys get serviced.
Yeah, and I think Shane must have stayed out possibly to get some bonus points. It looks like Josh Hanner is going to win the chase off of pit road, followed by Brandon Scherberko. But, I think Shane definitely stayed out there for some points because there is no way. We went 17 laps on those tires right there. And there's no way you're going to come back in. I was looking at the lap times, as I was saying right there before that caution, and like Christian Peterson, Seth the Merchant had fallen off a full second from what they were running. Those guys are the ones that usually do the short run setups, and they were at 39.7s. They were out front there in the beginning. They fell off a full second to a 40.7. So it was where a couple of the other trucks, Josh Hanner and Brandon Scherberko, they were only falling off 6 and 7/10. So that's definitely gonna, shuffle the people up. But coming off pit road there, Josh Hanner got some 4 fresh tires, so we should be pretty interesting to go back green here shortly.
Scherberko went +2 to be the second truck off of pit road. Shane McEachin does come down to the pit lane. He gets that bonus point. P5 at a championship, 30 points out of it into tonight. Why not pick up a bonus point, get fresh tires, and get set to go back at it? We talk about that 30-point deficit, though, Josh. That deficit was to Rod Flag. Well, it's not going to be 30 points outside of tonight's event because we talked about the problems for your championship leader into tonight's race. He's still out there on the racetrack, back in 22nd spot now. He was 27th out of 27 for the longest of time. They got the services required repaired on that truck. Back out there right now on the pit lane. They're continuing to service it, but we're going to see if you can catch up with him on the radio.
Yeah, let's see if we can get a catch up with Rod Flag here on the radio. Rod Flag, this is Josh Ball in the booth. You got a copy?
Got you, Josh.
Rod, saw some trouble there earlier in the race. It looks like a couple people were being a little conservative and some not. We see you got your truck back out there, so that's a good sign. How is she running right now?
Yeah, she's slow, but that's to be expected there. We've made up a few positions there, just kind of getting her back on the track. So can't the WSU crew's really done a great job of at least salvaging a poor night there. We got into some just really bad part of the track there. We had to check up for James because he decided he wanted to hit the wall, and so we were slowing down, trying not to hit him, and then we just trying to get the car back up to speed on turn 1, and I don't know, I think Dana took it 10 wide or something, and then we ended up in the wall. So it's not Dana's fault, and it's just guys trying to get too much of their car, and I think that's just not unexpected, but again, we're just going to salvage the night and try to pick up positions, and probably won't be the points leader afterwards, but it is what it is.
Yeah, you never know, and this is the first night for the new rule that was in place last week in the IROC series and the iSuper Speedway series, whereas there's no more quick fixes. This actually series might be even harder on that because we don't have a chase format. So guys like yourself that unfortunately wrecked out tonight, you're going to have to grind it out, get that, run some laps. So we see you're currently 9 laps down, but you made it up to 21st from 27. So that's quite a bit of points. So there might be a couple more cautions, we don't know, but hopefully you'll be able to get a couple more spots here before the end of the race. So hopefully those championship points won't sway you too much tonight.
Yeah, that hopefully. I mean, the plan is hopefully we'll have some better runs, and again, we had really good equipment tonight. Car was fast, or truck was fast, so it just disappointing that we didn't have an opportunity to go out there and try to race and have an opportunity to try to race, but again, it's doesn't surprise me what happened. It's just part of being out here, and it's been just a real crappy season. But we're gonna get in that Cheerios for later and try to win.
All right, we'll let you go back to green as we're getting ready to go. We'll send it back to Evan.
Rod flag going to be back in the pack for this one. The 24 is in the front of it. Green flag flies and back and away we go. And a Chevrolet at the front of the field tries to get going. A little bit of a slow start though at its top side. How about Brandon Chiburko? He wants the race lead at lap number 34. Checking up things behind him as a slow restart for control truck, the number 24 of Josh Hanner. We got guys stacked up. Trouble behind though. Caution flag flies. Big wreck behind. Rodney Wofford's involved.
Yeah, 7. Wow, unbelievable right there. 94 was involved again. I mean,
Rod flag in it.
Rod flag.
Wow.
I mean, just a lot of guys that we've
4 wide
been talking
again.
about. You know, those are 4 trucks that had problems earlier right there. So second time again around there trying to go 4 wide. And as you can see the replay going up on the screen now, just 4 wide. You got guys getting a decent run on the restart and guys that didn't, and you're trying to get around them and just running out of real estate. We talked about how wide this track was, but apparently it's not wide enough.
It wasn't quite 10-ish wide still, but 4 wide, an interesting situation. And, you know, Rod is 9 laps down with the damaged truck. Behind him is Ramon Evans, who has a damaged truck also, Josh, but probably less damaged. 2 laps down, tries to go topside to get around him. And, you know, when the 83 goes topside, he just clips him in the right rear, really because the 7 was top there as well and didn't have anywhere else to go. So you got Wofford there pinching the door. You could understand Ramon Evans not wanting to get checked up, but again, force the issue at a restart, makes contact with a slower truck in front of him. Rod flag just can't move over and let him go because if flag goes down the track, he's going to get into Shane McEachin. So that's a situation of when you have trucks that are damaged in front of faster trucks and those guys behind get a little bit impatient.
Yeah, and it's just been a crazy race. You know, unfortunately, it looks like the 94 is definitely done for the night after that wreck. But, you know, we've had 8 lead changes already. We've had a lot of wrecks. You know, unfortunately, it was just, you know, an incident where it looked like the 24 of Josh Hanner might have kind of checked out the bottom line a little bit, and Rod flag just couldn't get going. You know, we just talked to him, and he's got some pretty significant damage, and looked like Shane McEachin and Remote Evans. Yeah, exactly.
I can put it.
Yeah, and he just couldn't get going. I mean, you know, that truck was pretty damaged, so unfortunately it just stacked up everybody, and around they all went. So a couple of guys ended their night, but hopefully someone will be able to get back out there and continue on.
That started Evan up front though, you know, with the 24
on the inside. Yeah, he didn't get going, and Chiburko was the leader because of that. Because he didn't even have to clear him, but because the 3 had a better start, his nose was in front at the caution, so that all goes back up to the 24.
Yep. I think it was just a accordion effect, you know, and I don't know if he maybe missed a gear, or maybe started in second, or you know, wasn't sure what gear he was in or something until he hit the gas pedal and didn't go, but. Yeah, it definitely started up front, and when you get large fields like this, and it doesn't matter what track, it could be Martinsville, it could be Daytona. When you get a large field like this, and something like that happens up in the front, it gets its way to the back in a hurry, and by the time it gets back there, those guys just don't have a chance. So that's exactly what it was right there, just running out of space, and all started with the restart up front. So. You can't pinpoint or really blame anybody, I don't think. It's just it's one of them deals. It's something that happens, and you got to hope they have a good spotter that's looking way ahead for you.
And we talked about the size of this track. Well, when you're pacing at 70 miles an hour, too, it doesn't give the leader much of an advantage to get a jump. You can't really get a jump at 70 miles an hour. You're kind of in a, you're not in a good gear there to really get a good jump. So it's a slow and progressive get up to speed for everybody, and you don't really see the leader pull away at all. You miss it by a little bit, and the guys in the back have to pay the price. We're working under the caution flag, though, just shy of halfway, so we're going to take this quick opportunity, take a quick caution flag of our own, and step away and be back for the restart. You're watching the Skyline Motorsports 250 in the RoddCar Truck Tour on LSRTV. Back for the restart from Fontana in a moment.
Did you know that Lion's sense of vision is so powerful, it actually enables nearby creatures to see better? Here we see lions assisting the offspring of others, while their parents are elsewhere in the wild. Brilliant, isn't it? Making the wild kingdom look much better indeed. Do good. Be a lion.
Back live as the lights around the Virtual Auto Club Speedway and atop the iRacing.com pace car are extinguished, so we get set for another restart. Past the halfway point now in Fontana. Brandon Jaburko, your race leader, in front of Josh Hanner, Seth the Merchant, Stephanie Lessentine, and Greg Hooks inside of the top 5. The 3 truck, though, made the pass topside to get the race lead on that last restart before chaos ensued. Down to turn number 1. Jaburko, if he gets a jump in the 18th to 1st at halfway, that's not bad.
Ah, that's pretty good right there for that 3 truck. Something that he's been lacking. You know, we talk about the guys that went, back to back, and he did that a few weeks ago at Dover, Michigan, and then he comes back. He ends up having to miss almost a month, so he missed 4 races in a row. So for him to come back and have a good run like he's doing here tonight, it's going to definitely be something to boost his confidence. Obviously out of the championship picture for this season, but he's doing good. Green flag, though, back in the air.
And he got a pretty good jump that time, bottom side at lap 39 across the start-finish line. It looks like the 24 of Josh Hanner, he's hunting to get down to the bottom, kind of like a plate track, and he gets down in line. So he slots in. That leaves the 43 of Stephanie Lessentine. The GoPro Toyota is topside, nowhere to go. DeMerchant going to make a move on to the 38. Going to the high side, though, is Josh Hanner. Not enough that time. The crossover at the bottom. Jaburko shuts the door down to turn 3. That's how important the inside is.
Yeah, and everybody's racing for what they can get right now, Evan. As you see the 42 almost looking under Hanner there. We are not going to be able to make on time. Contact between the 24 and 3 off of turn 4. 42 now on the 24's bumper. Everybody's pushing, trying to get as many spots as they can.
We know how the 24 feels about that block down the backstretch. Gave him quite a shot in turn 4, and at these speeds, you don't really want to play with a lot of that. What that did, though, is the 24 gets aggressive, Andy. When you hit somebody like that, that's not a tap to the back bumper that's going to help you. That's a tap that you're hoping does not benefit them. And what it did, well, it slowed down Hanner. It opened up the door, and the 42 with Seth the Merchant went to the inside of the racetrack. And do we go 3 wide? No. 24 kind of forces the 42 in behind Jaburko. It's Hanner working topside. That truck, though, way up the hill, losing a lot of speed. And it's Lessentine going 3 wide with the number 98 of Greg Hooks down on the inside of the racetrack. 3 wide for second, and Jaburko continues to make the 3 good around Chevy as wide as the tractor merchant gets the inside, though. Checks it up. We'll be side by side.
Yeah, I don't think Jaburko expected that move right there. Great move by Seth the Merchant. Really entered real high like that, and Jaburko thought he was in the clear, and he just turned that thing left, went right to the bottom, able to squeeze in there, give himself that position, the preferred line right there. So Seth the Merchant's he's right where he wants to be at the moment right now. Hanner now back up in the mix here is pretty good pack we got going for the lead here, even 5th on back here. So still side by side for that lead. Great job right there by the 3 truck of Jaburko to hang on to that top spot that time by, but he's going to have his work cut out for him trying to keep it up there on the high side.
Talked about how the outside is not a big advantage getting the run off the corner, so you're just trying to limit the room set the Merchant gets. You can see that 3 truck, he's leaving about 2 truck lengths between him and the outside wall, Josh. He could go up to the fence, and it'd probably be better for him to do that, but he's trying to make sure that 42 to Merchant does not get a good arc into the corner, therefore he can't get back to the gas sooner. That's the only hope he has right now of keeping him pinched down, and he's still got a nose at a turn number 4. I'll tell you what, a stubborn one that 3 truck is. He's not about to give this one up.
Yeah, and that 42 isn't going to give it up either. There's no love lost in between these two on and off the track, Seth the Merchant and Brandon Chaburko. As last year we pointed out last season, Brandon was gone for most of the season. As the 24 gets in the back of the 42 there, going off the corner, he's looking low. But the 42 definitely took over as one of the most aggressive drivers last season in the iSuperspeedway. And Brandon's just the same way, so it's definitely interesting to see these two up front battling for it as Chaburko takes back over the lead coming off a 2.
Steffi Lessentine, who was in third, now falls to seventh. So Josh Hanner right there in the conversation, the driver of the number 24 machine, trying to get his first career RoddCar Truck Tour win. In third right now, he's trailed by Greg Cook, Sedani 8 in fourth, but it looks like the top 3 trucks are trying to pull away at this juncture. Just closing in on 20 minutes left on race time from the Auto Club Speedway. So Chaburko and DeMerchant, they're not only battling for the lead now, and 20 minutes is still a lot of time, but you want to be in the lead now because if a caution flag comes out, you want to be the control truck for the next restart. If you get a caution like we saw earlier, Andy, we know the cautions, they can come in waves. So that 42 DeMerchant, he's racing him like there's 2 minutes left on the clock as opposed to 20. That 3, though, not giving up the bottom. And I was surprised how good he was topside because nobody was really able to defend topside. They were able to give somebody a headache, but I mean, no more than 3-4 laps. Chaburko went to the point where he actually got behind Seth, brought him back, and passed him. And at 42, I mean, he is right in the wake of that good red Chevy, trying to do anything to get an advantage. These 3 trucks right now so evenly matched.
Yeah, they are, and what's keeping them really that close off of these corners is that draft. We talked about it early on before the race even happened. The draft definitely going to play effect here on these long straightaways, so that's exactly what it is. You saw the 24 get a great run there on the bottom side off of turn number 4, but he was unable to make the pass because the 42 was able to keep that draft of the 3 truck on that high side for most of that front straightaway. Although Hanner, though, makes a nice move there through the corner. Obviously, he's got a fast truck. We've seen it as the runs go on, so it'll be interesting to see if he can get up to this 3 trucks bumper, if he can get around him fairly easy. The true test will be if he can pull away from him.
And at 24, he was all over him, lost a little bit of speed. The 42 was Seth the Merchant. Now ends up in the 3rd spot as it's Josh Hanner slotting into the number 2 position. You want to be on the guy's back bumper because this is one of the few tracks in these trucks, because we're not doing the super speedways, Josh, where the draft is a thing. There's a draft at almost every track. Intermediate tracks, you see a little bit of it. It's a big thing here at Auto Club Speedway. How much, though, is that draft worth it to you when if you're behind somebody, there's no air on the nose of that truck, so you're losing downforce?
Yeah, exactly. And you can see with this battle going on up front, Greg Hooks is actually starting to reel in the top 3. And he's got that draft, just like as you were talking about, Evan. And he's able to reel in those guys. He hasn't been racing as hard, so his tires are definitely going to be a lot better. So it'll be interesting to see if Greg Hooks is to get up here. He has been a 10th quicker than the leader the last couple laps, so he is definitely coming. But like you said about the draft, Evan, that's why we have the qualifying earlier in effect as well. We don't want to give too many people an advantage of drafting on qualifying, so that's why anything over 2 miles, they go out and do it individually. So that's another reason, just like you said, draft plays a huge role in this race.
Hanner continues to challenge, moving back green a couple of laps ago at halfway. Let's take this opportunity under the green flag to take a look at your iRacing.com midway race break, presented by iRacing, the motorsports simulation leader for NASCAR. Had a lot of variety of possibilities of racing on the web, the home of the NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series, the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series, and so many more. Use PR-2015 LSRTV. Get a good discount on a new iRacing membership. Race leader is Brandon Chaburko. Josh Hanner in second. Give him another shot at it, but nothing quite that time by. So the 24 remains in second. It's Seth the Merchant in third. Fourth right now is Greg Hooks and Logan Clampett in fifth.
And Corey Henry right now running 6th spot. 7th goes to the 43 of Stephanie Lessentine. 8th place right now is Rod Mitten. 9th goes to Christian Peterson, and rounding out the top 10 is that 10 truck of Ryan Keese.
Big City Motorsports, the number 1 truck of Chris Passini, sits 11th. 12th, Matt Quick. Running up from 23rd tonight, Kent Connolly in the 088 is running 13th. Jimmy Todd 14th, and Ray Rittenauer sitting P15.
Dan McEachin is 16th, 17th is Daniel Ferguson, 18th at the moment, Derek Walker. Larry Camp is 19th, the final truck on the lead lap, and 1 lap down in 20th, Ramon Evans.
Rod Flagg, championship leader coming into tonight, 9 laps down, make that 10. He just got lapped again, sitting in 21st. 22nd is Rodney Wofford. Dana Osborne is 23rd, and
we got wrecking on the front stretch. Got the 088 in the wall coming off of turn 4 there as we were going through the mid-race report. Had one car that was slid down through the grass, and it looks like he's going to go down into the pits. It looked like the 18 of Jimmy Todd, but just looks like they got into the wall there.
So Todd with the contact, he ducks down, he gets away to the safety of the pit lane. The leaders, though, not giving up on each other. Josh Hanner, preferred lane inside again. Still not enough, though, to hold off Brandon Chaburko. The 3-truck topside shuts the door with little inches to spare. Cuts all the way down to the grass. That's just a little bit of Chaburko having some fun with Josh Hanner there. The 3-truck still leading, still with Hanner, still with the Merchant on the back end. Greg Cooks is slowly starting to fade from that top 4 battle. Now over half a second behind. Hanner, though, goes topside as Chaburko battles. Could this be it?
this could be the position or the battle right there, and it is now as Hanner able to get around him. He's going to stay on that high side as Chaburko now goes to the bottom, not going to be able to slide his truck inside right there. Now that's going to give Hanner a good run off of the corner. He's going to be able to pull away now, almost a car length right now as they run down the front straightaway. So Josh Hanner playing some tricks of his own as we watch from his rear bumper cam right now as he looks back on that number 3 truck. He's playing his little tricks of his own right there and had Chaburko taking bottom, and he went to that top side and made it happen. Now he's pulling away.
He took advantage of the bobble, went topside, and he took away Chaburko's preferred line. If it's not the preferred line, but it's the guy that you're trying to pass his preferred lane, take it away from him. Get the upper hand. That's what the 24 did. Chaburko immediately went to the bottom. Hanner repaid the block from a little bit earlier, and he blocked him down on the inside in 3 and 4. Took over the race lead. It is actually now trying to pull away in that DuPont Chevrolet, and you saw when you're running back to the back bumper of the race leader, Josh Hanner. Josh said Chaburko can't really focus on the 24. He couldn't get back to him, couldn't set him up because, well said, the Merchant's plastered on his back end as well. So now it's more of a battle for second. Chaburko's got it. The Merchant wants it, and if those guys fight, that's good news for Josh Hanner because 2 guys fighting for second, a lot slower than 2 guys chasing the leader.
Exactly, and Greg Cooks has also fallen off a little bit back there behind Seth the Merchant, and Stephanie Lessentine has fallen back a little bit more. But Josh Hanner has got a smile on his face right now. He definitely has a longer run truck, as we've seen throughout most of the night. We're working lap 55 right now. We got 50 minutes into the race out of 65. Got about 23 laps left. It's going to be really close, Evan. I'm not sure if we're going to make it or not, and it's going to be close. We've had 4 cautions so far. I said 2 in the beginning of the race. We haven't had too many a lap down. We got currently 8 trucks 1 lap down or greater. But it's going to be really close on time.
They're working under a green flag stretch that is at now 15 laps long, and these guys working with just about 15 minutes left on the clock, trying to get in the final 20 or so laps in this race, and at a pace of 40 seconds per lap, you can talk about cutting it so extremely close. Hanner is still leading. It's still Chaburko. It's still the Merchant. Stephanie Lessentine, though, the number 43 GoPro Toyota, big fan of this Auto Club Speedway, high expectations into this race, was 3rd, dropped back to 7, and as you talked about, guys dropping back from 4th on, and the name we were specifically talking about was Greg Cooks there, who has really now fallen off the deep end in P11 after he had some major problems at a turn at number 4. That truck broke sideways, caught the grass, he hung on. That allows Lessentine to pass 3 trucks from about 10 laps ago back in P4. Problem is, all of these trucks, even if they're quicker than our leaders, and I don't think it's going to be too easy to do so, Andy, because Josh Hanner's been one of the fastest long-run trucks we've seen all night, and he's out in front. But if you can best that, 4th on back, you're over 1.5 seconds back. If you're 5th on back, you're over 3.5 seconds back, and it continues to increase. So with the long green flag stretch, kind of understand why these guys were at each other's throats on the restarts, because once they get spread out like this, unless the guy's within a couple of tenths of you, there's really not a whole lot of hope of catching them.
No, you're absolutely right. You're going to make up some ground, but you can't make it all up as we got a battle for the second spot right now. Chaburko going to stay up on that high side. He's not going to do any blocking this time as the Merchant able to clear him now as they head back into turn number 1. We talk about cars that are pretty fast in the long run. Obviously, the 24 has been all race long. But I've been watching Stephanie Lessertine's lap times. She's either been a tad bit quicker than our leader or right there at the same lap times as him. So she's doing a great job right now currently with what she has for a setup. Definitely something set up for the long run for herself also. She might be battling with these guys here, trying to get in that top 3, getting a podium spot here before long.
And those top 3 that were so equally matched, Seth the Merchant is able to make the pass on Brandon Chaburko. So the 42 truck to second, the 3 back to third. Now that the Merchant is not stuck behind the 3, what can he do with that small pocket of clean air if he is indeed quicker and can get to Josh Henner? Chaburko losing Haley sideways at a turn 2. He'll save it yet again, but that good wrench number 3 Chevrolet really sideways at a turn number 2 hangs on to it. Chaburko's been on the ragged edge all night long.
Yeah, definitely. And Chaburko's starting to fall off. But I tell you what, Seth the Merchant and Stephanie Lesentine are both catching the leader right now. Seth the Merchant that last lap was about half a tenth faster than Josh Henner. This lap, as he comes through, he is actually 1/10 slower. But Stephanie Lesentine still on the same pace. She is just a tad bit faster than Josh Henner right now.
And they got 1.3 seconds that she would need to make up 14 trucks on the lead lap right now. Larry Kent, the last driver on the lead lap at the moment, in 14th position. Kent Connolly picks up 3 spots that last lap in the 088 Tide Chevrolet, so he sits in P10 right now at the moment. This time around, though, Josh Hanner will take 18 laps to go at the Auto Club Speedway. And here comes it down for the final pit stop with 70% fuel cells. Look at Brandon Chaburko, the 3 truck flying in. There's no way he didn't speed because he passed like 3 trucks getting into pit road.
Yeah, that's going to be close right there. We'll have to see if he
went from third to first in 200 feet.
Yeah,
and I don't think he sped.
It's gonna be close. We'll see if he gets stopped here in his box right now as all the leaders come down. Stephanie Lestie stayed out there for that 1 extra lap. I'm sure she'll be in this time by. She's gonna get that all important bonus point right there as the leaders come down. No penalty, it looks like, so he's gonna be off and running. We got the replay of that pit entry he did right there. That was fantastic, and he's gonna beat these guys off by a long shot. I think the 3 might only take it 2.
He goes with 2 tires. It's everybody else with 4, so he would have gotten the lead regardless, Josh, but that's the greatest pit road entry I've ever seen.
Yeah, and the worst, I don't know how he got it slowed down, honestly.
He was a second behind, and I'm like, oh, he's off into the grass or he's off into the fence, but he slowed it down in time. Either everybody else was extremely conservative or the 3 was in over his head and got lucky.
Exactly, and now he's almost a half of straightaway in front of Josh Hanner and Seth the Merchant, and the biggest loser on all of that was Josh Hanner from the lead now back to third, at least among the guys that were up there in the front.
Quarter right now, P8 on the racetrack. In front of him, the driver still to come down to pit road, Stephanie Lesentine. Your current race leader, Matt Quick, Shane McEachin, Ray Rittenauer, Kent Connolly, Daniel Ferguson, and Derek Walker, the 7 drivers that need to make their services to be able to make it to the end of this race. The 43 truck stays out in front of the field for the moment, with just about 8 minutes left on the clock to pace the field. So the now question is, can Chaburko win this race on those 2 tires? The gap he gained from it over top of Seth the Merchant and Josh Hanner. The Merchant, by the way, wins that battle amongst those 2. So the 42 truck now in front of the 24. Stephanie Lesentine get a pit from the top spot. So Josh Hanner goes from first to, if we're looking at these 3 trucks, to go back to 1, 2, 3 at the end of it all. First to third in that exchange. Chaburko goes third to first, and it's just Seth the Merchant hanging out in the middle.
Yeah, but he's much faster right now, about half a second a lap faster than Brandon Chaburko. Now the only thing that's going to be slowing him down from getting around these guys and possibly getting a win out of this tonight is going to be time or laps left. So he's got his work cut out for him. The thing he's got to remember, though, or the thing he's got to do is just not overdrive this thing right now, and he'll be all right. But the 24, Josh Hanner, definitely got some work to do.
And that gap is 5 seconds between Brandon Chaburko, back to Seth the Merchant, back to Josh Hanner. In between them is Logan Clampett, the number 44 Chevrolet, still out on track after problems earlier on in the night. He's short pitted at lap number 56, so he's good to the end of this race as well. Maybe some sort of a strategy call by that machine to make it to the end here. The good news by doing that, Josh, is he's back out there with fresh tires while everybody else was losing their tires. The problem, though, for Clampett right now, who is provisionally second, assuming everything would cycle through, is now he's out there with tires falling off, and you can see Seth the Merchant about to pounce on him for what is currently P5, because now it's Seth's turn to have the tire advantage.
Exactly, and I'm actually still watching the front of this pack. You know, we're getting close on time, very close on time. And you got Matt Quick still out there, running about 20 seconds ahead of these guys. You also got Shane McKeechin still out there, about, 20 seconds ahead of them as well. These guys, I'm super fuel conservative. I'm not sure exactly when they pitted last, but there's still 3 people in front of Brandon Chaburko right now, and that's Matt Quick, Shane McKeechin, and Kent Connolly. So it should be interesting to see if any of them can actually make it.
There's 7 minutes left on the clock, or 13 laps, whichever comes first. Matt Quick trying to win this race right now from 26th on the grid. It'll be a stretch to get the job done, and I'm sure he'd be banking on a caution, but Matt Quick, 4th in the championship into tonight, just 15 points back. No top 5s on the season, but a model of consistency so far through to this point, up 25 spots from the start of the race. He's not going to get caught by Chaburko and everybody else. The drivers that have already pitted are over 26 seconds now behind. So you have 3rd place right now, Brandon Chaburko. He's 20 seconds back. Seth the Merchant is over 24 back. Josh Hanner's 25 back in 5th. Logan Clampett now 26 seconds back in 6th after he made contact with Josh Hanner the last time through the corner. McKeechin and Quick still need to come down the pit lane.
Yeah, they still need to come down. We were talking with we were talking with Josh, and Josh I think's heard some things on the radio about pit stops for these guys.
Yeah, I just overheard over the radio. It sounds like the 89 and 28 are unfortunately not going to make it on fuel if it stays green. If we get a caution here in the next couple laps, though, I think Matt Quick or Shane might be able to make it with the caution laps. But unfortunately, if we stay green, I don't think either of them can make it, is what I heard.
A caution would bridge us over on time. He's not going to get it. He's forced down to the pit lane. So Matt Quick gives up the race lead at lap number 68. Shane McKeechin will assume the race lead. It's the Havoline Toyota, who we talk about championship and Matt Quick. Well, it's McKeechin just behind Quick. P5 at the points, 30 back from tonight. He stayed out, Andy, on one of the more recent caution flags, got a bonus point, pitted, and then was dead last in line of lead lap trucks. Now he's leading inside of 10 laps to go, but I don't think he's going to be able to make it to the time window, because you talk about fuel saving, it's about a 1-to-2 ratio, caution flag laps to green flag laps. So you're only using 50% of the fuel you would use under green than you are if you're running under the caution flag, but I think the time would be the big concern. He's not going to get the magic caution flag either. He is forced down to pit road, and now Brandon Chaburko going to take the race lead in front of the Merchant.
Yeah, Chaburko's going to reassume the lead here. Now he's going to be able to see if he can hold off these guys. Last time by, he had a 3-second gap on the Merchant and Hanner. This time, we'll see as everything shapes up and gets going here. It looks like it's down to 3.8 back to Seth the Merchant. Still 4 seconds to Hanner. So Brandon Chaburko might have made the winning call right there on that 2-tire stop. We'll have to see how things play out here. We got about 9 laps left to go here, and still we've only got about 5 minutes left in the sim.
Chaburko trying to make it to the end of this one. The gap is about 3.2 seconds. We'll get an updated number across the start-finish line. 2 tires gave him the advantage off of pit road, but he beat them into the pit lane, which gave him probably, honestly, at least a second or two. How quick he was. I know he was about 0.8 of a second behind those guys when they came down to the pit lane. The Merchant is obviously quicker, 2.9 seconds, so he's 0.3 faster per lap, Josh, but 0.3 a second rather per lap. That's not quick enough with it just inside now of 8 laps to go. Something has to happen to Chaburko, or Seth the Merchant's just not going to cut it.
Exactly, and you're right. Something's going to happen to Jaburko, which we've seen, them running up front by themselves, a couple 5-6 car lengths in front happened to Christian Peterson earlier when he just got loose and Josh Hanner passed him for over 2 seconds back. So there's definitely that possibility. We're about 2.5 to 3 minutes left in the sim. Seth the Merchant only knocked off about a tenth there. Josh Hanner's right behind him. But it looks like if everything stays green and Brandon Jaburko doesn't have any problems, he's going to be the winner tonight.
He goes down the back straightaway, just about maybe 2.5 minutes left. You're talking about 6 laps of racing. That puts you into the ballpark as I try to avoid some Andy math here of maybe you need 4 minutes to get those laps done. I'm not sure. You're getting 40 seconds a lap. That's all I can tell you. I think you might be 1 or 2 laps short. Jaburko doesn't care. He wants the checkered flag to come out before something can happen, especially considering the handling problems he's had on that truck all night. Not necessarily clean track in front of him. He'd have to get around Kent Connolly and Derek Walker, 2 trucks of lap traffic that aren't all that far on the horizon. Other than that, though, definitely Brandon Jaburko's race to lose. Or before the caution flags, or rather before that green flag pit stop even, Andy, he was not even in a spot to win the race. He was going backwards. Now he's in total domination by over 2 seconds.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And we're talking about that, and the guys battling for second there going into turn 1 that last time there. It looked like the 24 might have pinched Seth the Merchant up into the wall there on the entry of the corner. A little bit of jumbling going on the radio right now, but obviously I think Hanner had the faster truck now as he's pulled out to about 7 or 8 truck lengths now. He's down to 2.5 seconds, guys. Time's running out. Only 5 laps left in this thing to go here. It's not looking good as far as the laps go.
The 3 gets around the 088, so that's just another lap traffic machine in between him and Josh Hanner, but with a gap of 2.5 seconds, not necessarily a factor. 15 trucks will be on the lead lap at this point. Next driver he would catch would be Shane McEachin, who's well off to turn number 1. P15 of the 15 trucks still on the lead lap at this point. Lap 75 goes into the works for Brandon Jaburko. The clock just about at 65 minutes in total length. Running out of laps and running out of time is Josh Hanner. Hanner, DeMerchant, those guys again, they just swapped up P2, P3. Lessentine is 4th. It's Corey Henry in 5th, but nobody inside of the top 5 in a spot to battle right now. Brandon Jaburko is about maybe a minute away from becoming the all-time RoddCar Truck Tour race winner leader with 3 trips to victory lane. That's a mouthful there. And he'll try to break the streak. A guy is going back-to-back. He wants his 3rd on the season.
Yeah,
he could start a new one, and if he can win next week.
Exactly. And the white flag out right now as we're coming around lap 76. Looks like Brandon Jaburko is still about 2 full seconds out in front of Josh Hanner. Unless some major thing happens here going into turn 3, he should be able to wrap it up and be 3-time winner on the season. And that's going to totally screw Evan up because he likes the back-to-back-to-back stuff. And now Brandon's like back-to-back and 5 races.
If he wins next week, it'll be all pretty. I'm sure there's an easier way to say it, but he'll get race win number 3 on the season, and he's the all-time RoddCar Truck Tour race winning leader. 3rd trip to victory lane. Brandon Jaburko wins at Auto Club Speedway. Winner in the Skyline Motorsports 250. Put that one in the bank. And we talked about the tie amongst all-time race win leaders, guys, going into this one in the inaugural season. Clampett, DeMerchant, Jaburko, and Peterson had all won 2 races on the year. Therefore, they are all tied for most wins all-time in this series. Jaburko's number 3 takes sole possession of that with his 3rd trip to victory lane.
Yeah, he did a great job coming from 18th spot, Evan, all the way up to the race win. So he did what he had to do. He did some good track position things early on. Drove like a madman, blocking people from top side going all the way to the bottom. And then that move onto pit road definitely gained him the advantage he needed. If he didn't do that, I think we might be talking the 24 as the winner here tonight. So he definitely did a good job, did everything right, and it all worked out at the end.
Jaburko doing the burnouts at the end of this one. It's his 3rd win on the season. Not really a factor, though, when you talk about the championship, Josh. Big winner tonight, points-wise. Josh Hanner, second in points into tonight, 5 points behind Rod Flag. Flag scrapes for a P21, so he picks up 6 spots by toughing it out, but in a P21, that means that's 19 points at least to the advantage of Josh Hanner, who will take over the championship lead with 4 races to go.
Yeah, exactly. We were talking about earlier tonight consistency. As we said, there's no chase in this RoddCar Truck Tour, at least for this season. And consistency. Josh Hanner has yet to win a race, but look where he sits in the point standing. He is P1, just like Rod Flag was last week. He has been a championship leader for a couple weeks now, and he has yet to win a race. But again, Josh Hanner sits at the top, looking for the championship, and Brandon Chaburko's got his 3rd win of the season, but he's a little bit further behind, at least for right now.
And the fun part about the Auto Club Speedway is you can drive it to victory lane. Chaburko loses the engine. It's enough to coast to the virtual Gatorade victory lane. And we'll catch up with him and apparently the number 28 there as well, Shane McEachin, in just a moment. Post-race coming up from Fontana, California in just a minute. You're watching LSRTV's coverage of the RoddCar Truck Tour. Post-race from the Skyline Motorsports 250 coming right up.
Domino's TYJ Racing League is proud to announce we are now taking driver applications for our $2,500 purse inaugural season going green January 2016. At Domino's TYJ Racing League, you get paid cash, not gift cards or die casts. Cold, hard cash. You get paid for finishing 1st through 20th in our championship and 1st through 3rd, plus a lucky dog bonus in all of our 20 races, plus other cash bonuses. You're going to like the way you look. All the way to the bank. I guarantee it. Purse amount approximate, paid cash or iRacing bucks. Drivers carry less than $20. Report unsafe driving to local authorities. Apply today at Domino'sTYJRacing.com to see if you qualify for our league. And join our preseason Thunder tryout races Saturday nights at 8 p.m. through the end of 2015 to see if you have what it takes to make the cut and some cash.
Top 10 for most of this race, actually.
Back from the virtual Auto Club Speedway post-race for the RoddCar Truck Tour Skyline Motorsports 250. Quick reminder, this Tuesday, the NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series returns to LSRTV for the Homestead of Miami Speedway for round 3 of 9 in the 2015-2016 championship. You can catch the LSRTV post-race show at 8:45 p.m. Eastern Time. I'll pass the mic down with our driver analyst, Josh Ball. Seth the Merchant's able to walk away with the podium finish tonight. The 42 driver comes home in 3rd in the Skyline Motorsports 250. And Josh, I believe you've got a word with him.
Yeah, before we catch up with the winner on tonight's event, Brandon Chaburko, I've got down here with Seth the Merchant, number 42, P Money Design Chevrolet. Coming home P3rd tonight. Tell us about your race, Seth. I know the biggest question mark, we're probably going to ask Josh Hanner and Brandon Chaburko as well. That last pit stop when Brandon was able to pass you and Hanner without getting a penalty and then just taking 2 tires. You think it would have played out any different if you guys would have taken 2 as well?
I don't think so. Well, yeah, I think Hanner probably would have won. He had the best truck, I think, all night. Chavez was really good at holding people off, but I didn't have anything for those guys. The setup we had this week wasn't very good. We didn't work on it that long, and I was struggling all race, especially on the long run. I just didn't have the speed to hang with them.
Yeah, we saw you qualified 3rd tonight. That was great. Practice in 2nd place. You definitely had one of the quicker short run cars, as we were, talking about each week in and week out. You and Christian Peterson, I know you guys are teammates. You guys have a lot of the fastest short run cars that we see out there. That's why you guys went both back to back wins. Josh Hanner usually is better on the long runs, like you were saying, but Brandon Chaburko was able to squeeze it out tonight. Anything you think could have been any different that could have propelled you guys to the win, except for working on that truck earlier in the week?
I mean, just a caution near the end, because for about 5 laps, I could stay up with Hanner and Brandon and them, but after that, I was having to lift because it would get real tight in the center, and they'd just drive away from me like I was standing still.
Yeah, we saw a couple of guys, earlier in the race, a couple of those cautions. It seemed like everybody's being a lot of conservative but aggressive at the same time, with the new rule of, no quick fixes in this series now. Did you think that adjusted your driving style at all tonight, or not really? You just kind of went for it?
Nah, I didn't drive any different than I did in all the other races that I won, but, I like it, but we had some cautions at the beginning, but once some people were wrecked out, we got that green run, got a green flag pit stop, which is cool. So I don't know, I like it. I like it so far.
That's great, and great finish tonight. Bringing your truck home P3rd so far. Besides P Money Designs, do you have any sponsors and shout outs you'd like to thank before we let you go tonight?
I just got to thank Six Man for all the help on the setup. Chris Peterson, Lone Clampett, and then P Money for spotting for us.
All right. Again, thanks for talking with us at the Merchant. Finished P3 tonight, 9th in the championship points heading into the last couple of races, and I think Andy has caught up with your 2nd place finisher.
That's right. I am down here on pit road right now with the driver of the 24 DuPont Chevy Silverado, Josh Hanner. Josh, one spot too short. You probably had the truck to do it tonight. Obviously, on the long run, you were faster than everybody. You're able to close the gap there on Brandon Chaburko. Just flat out ran out of time and ran out of laps.
Yeah, we had a pretty good truck on the long run. It's nothing else I could do there. I think he took 2, and he had a just killer good pit entry there. I am shocked he didn't get speeding. So I did all I could do to run him down, but just not quite enough time.
Yeah, I think we were all shocked he didn't get a penalty on that right there. That was probably me and Evan were talking about it, Josh, up in the booth. That was probably one of the best pit entries we've ever seen. It almost looked like he hesitated. He was up on the high side and then saw both of you guys were coming and just dove it right down there and somehow got it wound up and didn't spin out and ends up with the 2 tires being able to stretch out the lead there on you guys. But you got to be real excited how this season's gone for you. Obviously haven't gotten to victory lane yet. Want to obviously do that here in the inaugural truck season, but you got 6 top 5s in the 10 races you started this season, and after tonight's race, the consistency has gotten you a 15-point lead on the championship.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I can't complain. The season's going real good. I would like to finally get to victory lane. I've been joking around telling everybody I'm cursed. I just can't seem to get it done. But hopefully after drop weeks, we'll still be out front, and we'll just keep plugging along. Hopefully we can take home the big trophy if we don't get one of the little ones.
Yeah, I think the bigger one's more important for you, and that would definitely be one to get. Obviously, the way you guys are running all season long, the consistency's gotten you where you've gotten. You're not going to win races if you're not running up front, and you guys are definitely running up front, so I think the win's just it's got to be right around the corner for you.
I certainly hope so, man.
Well, I'm sure we all do, and you can also say that you haven't had the bad luck that we've seen a lot of guys, especially even one of your teammates there, Jorgensen, have both in the trucks and in the iSuper Speedway series. So sponsors, shout outs, who do you want to thank getting you here so far this season?
I thank you guys for doing the broadcast, of course, and Rod for putting on the show. I want to give a shout out to my new teammates, Ryan Keese and Stephanie Lessentine. We're looking forward to next season, and I think we're going to be one of the teams to beat.
There you have it. Congratulations again, the second place finish here tonight. And good luck as the season winds down. Hopefully you can hang on to this thing.
I hope so, man. We'll see you in the next one.
There you have it. Josh Hanner, second place finisher here tonight, new points leader. But Evan, you've caught up with the guy who's got his third win this season.
A lot of guys already looking forward to next season and beyond because the Season 2 and Season 3 schedules for the RoddCar Truck Tour announced in the past couple of days. Still on tap, though, is the inaugural championship. Brandon Chaburko not in the fight for it, but tonight picks up his third checkered flag on the season to get the most old-time wins in this RoddCar Truck Tour. Succumbing over the other guys who were tied with 2. Logan Clampett, Seth the Merchant, Christian Peterson, Brandon Chaburko stands alone now with 3 wins, and he gets his third one tonight at the Auto Club Speedway. Brandon, first off, what was that pit road entry? Was it supposed to be that aggressive, or did you just completely miss it? Because somehow you passed 2 trucks at about 200 feet, took 2 tires, and won the race.
Well, Seth had actually PM'd me in the sim and told me he was pitting. And I was like, well, Seth's pitting. And I saw Hanner pitting at the last second there, too. So it was kind of like a rash decision on my part to go ahead and come in there. And I figured my only chance to even have a shot at winning the race was to be very aggressive on pit road entry. And luckily I was able to whittle that down and win it by 2 seconds, which ultimately I think was able to win me the race tonight.
Yeah, you were almost a second back from those guys, and you led them into the pit lane to begin with, and I'm pretty sure I said that it's the greatest pit road entry I've ever seen, and I'll stand by that statement. This race as a whole, though, the truck didn't show a lot of speed. 18th in practice, 18th in qualifying, but when you got out there after the drop of the green flag, all you went was forward.
Yeah, Casey Malone made some great adjustments on the truck, and from there on, it was pretty much flying. My only minor complaint with it was we actually had it turning a little too well on the green flag runs. About 20 laps in, and I'd get loose out of 4. But overall, I mean, it was a great setup, and can't thank them enough for it.
Not in a spot at this time to fight for the title with 7 starts on the season through now 11 races, but 3 wins. It has to feel good. If you want to keep a streak going, it means that the last 4 guys that have won races, and you're included in this list, have gone back-to-back, so we'll see if you can continue that true. So we look forward to the next race. It's going to be the Las Vegas Motor Speedway in a couple of weeks' time when we get these trucks back out there all the way through into December. The next time these trucks are out there. Is Vegas a place that you can get your 4th?
Yeah, man, absolutely. I think anytime I'm on the track, I feel pretty confident like I can win. So hopefully we can keep this going. And Nem, if you're watching this, I mean, can you stop suspending me so I can, have a chance at winning another championship?
I have a feeling that aggressive racing has something to do with that, and I'll tell you what, it was that exact aggressive racing, Brandon, that got you this win. Somehow pull it out in that pit stop that I'm sure we'll be talking about for quite some time. You didn't give it up. You come home again, your 3rd checkered flag on the season. That makes you the most winning driver all time in this inaugural season for the RoddCar Truck Tour. Sponsors and shout out to the people you want to thank.
Oh, yeah. Good wrench for coming on board, as always. Everybody on Chicken Wing Motorsports. Altman's Casey Malone for the setup and everything that he had put time into coming in there and tweaking on it. James Pulaski, Steven Idzeni, and Frank Busilio.
All right, well, thanks for sticking around and chatting with us, Brandon. Again, congratulations to you on the 3rd win, and hopefully we'll see you in Las Vegas on the 4th.
Absolutely. Thank you, Evan.
And again, that's Brandon Chaburko, Andy, with his 3rd win on the season. And again, not able to fight for the championship, missing those 4 races, as we mentioned. But he gets right back on track here tonight with a win in Fontana. Let's take a look at your full field rundown to wrap up tonight's racing action for round 11. The Skyline Motorsports 250. Brandon Chaburko picks up the checkered flag in front of Josh Hanner, in front of Seth the Merchant. Hanner, without the drops factored in, is your new championship leader with 4 races to go. P4 is Stephanie Lessentine, and 5th spot tonight for the 71 of Christian Peterson. Logan Clampett in 6th, 7th is Chris Bassini, at P8 for Corey Henry, Rod Mitten in 9th, and Greg Hooks in 10th.
You got Daniel Ferguson finishing P11, Matt Quick, Ray Rittenauer, Ryan Keese, and Shane McEachin rounding out your top 15. Kent Connolly comes home P16. Derek Walker, some troubles tonight for Moon Evans. He was able to bring it home P18. Larry Camp was 19th. 20th, Jimmy Todd. And Rod Flagg was able to come back to 21st there, so he was able to at least salvage part of his night.
Yeah, that he was. James Pileski comes home 22nd. Rodney Wofford comes home 23rd. 24th went to Dana Osborne. Frank Busilia finished 25th. Matt Bontempi finishes 26th, and 27th went to Ron Thompson.
And it may not seem like a lot, but 27th to 21st for Rod Flagg. Couple of points, but that could be big after 4 weeks, so that's the little bit of a benefit you get out of toughing things out. Again, so the RoddCar Truck Tour race in the books, and if you're a fan of LSRTV Friday nights, you know that part 2 of our Friday night primetime doubleheader on LSRTV is still to come. We got the second to last race before the iSuper Chase coming up for the iSuperspeedway.com Racing Series. Until we step away, though, Josh, what are your final thoughts from Auto Club?
You know, it was a definitely interesting race tonight. We had a lot of great racing, 3-4 wide. You know, we saw that it worked out sometimes and didn't work at other times. And, you know, a lot of great racing out there tonight, a lot of pushing, a lot of green flag runs. Definitely the draft was into it. And for once, 2 tires worked. You know, as Brandon Chiburko made on that bold move going down in the last couple laps and taking those 2 tires and won him the race, which is very unusual because 2 tires in the previous races throughout the year, we've seen pretty big wrecks fall after those.
1.8 seconds is the gap that Brandon Chiburko wins this race by. He was by far and large not the fastest truck at the end, but Andy, because of the time he made up on pit road, that could have been the difference there between allowing him to keep that gap and allowing Josh Hanner and DeMerchant to be on him by the end of this one. And the fact that I think this race was cut 2 laps short by time could have been a factor in that regard as well, but the stars aligned for Chiburko tonight.
Yeah, they did. And, you know, for a lot of guys, like even Josh Hanner, the stars have been good for him, but they haven't aligned perfectly for him to get that first race win of the season. But his consistency has got him the points lead. So things looking pretty good for him as we close in on the end of the season. Still lots of racing to go for these guys in the trucks. Anything can happen. Still got a great points battle. It still will be, I'm sure, to the end. And tonight, Chiburko just did a fantastic job. And like you said, that move getting onto pit road, the 2-tire stop, this is about the only time you'll see 2 tires work is when it's a green flag stop and it's green all the way to the end. If there was a restart there towards the end, I think we'd be talking about somebody else in victory lane. But however, that's not what happened, and Chiburko gets his 3rd win of the season.
And with that, we wrap up race number 11, and now just 4 races to go until we crown an inaugural champion at Homestead, Miami in just under 2 months' time. That does it from the Auto Club Speedway, and on behalf of the entire LSRTV team and for the booth crew tonight, myself, Evan Pasoko, for Andy Kessler, Josh Ball, and Laura Lawson, we thank you so much for tuning in. Congrats to Brandon Chiburko, 3rd checkered flag, and he is now the all-time race win leader in the RoddCar Truck Tour. 2 weeks off for the trucks. In 1 week's time, we'll have the IROC lead it off our Friday night doubleheader. We'll be off for Thanksgiving, and the trucks will be back at it at the beginning of December from the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Until then, good night from Fontana. We'll see you part 2 of our doubleheader coming up in just a moment. We'll be at Talladega at the top of the hour.